let's jump to talking about the TPACK framework. It's a really different way of looking at how technology is being integrated. And Kelly, when we were talking, in planning this, I really like this discussion we got into, how SAMR does feel like a linear model, like you have to do one thing before the next, and then the next, which is not really true at all, because you could, tomorrow, without knowing too many technical details, you could get into doing shared discussions and things like that. But it feels somewhat hopelessly linear, even though it's so useful. And TPACK is probably the opposite of that. It's you often see it in a Venn diagram format. Here we've put it in more of a target format. And I like this. Maybe it suffers from the opposite problem of it can be hard to know where to start. But could you give us an overview of TPACK?
Yeah, it's interesting. We saw in the poll that we had a much more, I would say, a greater number of people that were comfortable with SAMR, and maybe fewer that had experience and were using TPACK actively. Typically, you see TPACK represented, kind of the official graphic is 3 circles that all intersect in the middle, like Bradley mentioned, the Venn diagram. And one of the things that I think is really important about looking at the TPACK model versus SAMR is that SAMR is very, very useful, but something that I think sometimes gets ignored is this idea that technology has to be layered in and layered over content knowledge and pedagogy. And so what's strong about the TPACK model, in my opinion, is that it kind of forces you in your planning, when you're thinking about an activity, to make sure that all 3 of those dimensions are represented and given some attention and some I guess, deliberate thought around, instead of just, well, this looks like a cool tool. Kids can do all kinds of good stuff with this. It kind of forces you to call out what standards are you trying to address, and then knowing those standards and knowing that content, what's the best instructional strategy that we have to help kids actually learn that and show what they know? And what is the best technology tool then that would layer on top of that? The thing that Bradley and I actually mentioned was that the official TPACK model has technology as the top circle. My theory is it's because it was the way to make a good acronym, to start with the T for TPACK. I don't know if that was the real reason. But I've seen a lot of people who've actually written blog posts on not liking that the technology is at the top because that gives it maybe a weight that it shouldn't have. So you'll notice that in the Bradley's redesigned TPACK graphic, we have technology there, but it's at the bottom because it undergirds really what's happening with content, with pedagogy.